0864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck. Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound, up and in! 1 point more to go!
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Good weekend for the Ducks. Oregon Volleyball back-to-back wins at Matthew Knight Arena. We'll talk about that. They're on a 6-match winning streak. And, of course, Oregon football, a weird game against Stanford. I don't think I've ever felt as uncomfortable with a 31-3 lead as I did at halftime of that game. The penalties, man. The penalties alone. And I got to tell you, coming off the field, I said this to Coach Lanning, our halftime interview. I said, Coach, I imagine you're frustrated with the penalties, but hey, leading 31-3, break down the first half. Didn't say anything about anything other than the penalties. Then I asked the follow-up, as reporter does. Do I have a microphone here? I feel like I need the prop. I do. This is a giant microphone, everybody. But I was like, Coach, what do you want to see in the second half? Just like, Coach, I'm sorry. And he just said, I want to see clean football. I think for the most part, you saw that. You can't ever apologize for a win, right? You just can't apologize for a win. I've really come to the conclusion after having that prop. I need like an old school talk radio prop microphone here. Scott, do you have any of those in your garage? Does anybody we know have any in a garage somewhere? You know how like on late night shows, which is kind of how we designed this set. Those of you who have watched the show long enough know that this isn't really your traditional sports talk show. I feel like I need one of those like late show. Jerry might. Yeah, Jerry might. I don't think you could be heard on the air just then, but I'm going to not repeat that. Scott is in rare form today. Anyway, the point being that it was one of those interviews, though, where I could tell that it was tight, and you're leading 31-3. Some great performances throughout the game. And I thought it was really impressive what Bo Nix did in particular. So just hear this for a second. Bo Nix against Stanford, he had 5 carries for 141 yards. Solid performance, right? That's 23.5 yards per carry. That's the highest yards per carry by any FBS player this season with 5 or more rushes in a game. It's the highest yards per carry by an FBS quarterback with 5 or more rushes since Denard Robinson. Denard Robinson, who was on the last cover of NCAA football, if anybody remembers that. 25.8 yards per carry for him in 2010. The third highest since 1996 for Bo Nix. And an 80-yard rush is the second longest by an FBS quarterback this season. Impressive stuff for Bo Nix. And I asked him on the coach's show when he was with us, hey, what was your previous career long? This was not last week, the week before. And he said, well, in high school, I think I had one that was like 75 yards. We rushed from the 25-yard line. Well, this one was 80. Solid performance. Really fun to see the Ducks perform the way they did. And I think getting out to a quick start is important for this team, particularly after the demons of the red zone against Washington State. That was really what got Oregon in the hole early, is they were trading field goals for touchdowns, or touchdowns for field goals, when it felt like they needed touchdowns. Well, in this game, that kind of happened early, and then the Ducks really started to get the offense going. Overall, a 45-27 final, and I think some great takeaways, including the fact that it's the 22nd straight home win. That's the third longest active home winning streak in the nation. It's one shy of the program record. The Ducks won 23 straight at home from 1997 to 2001. Who was surprised to hear us say that stat postgame? I was. I admit it. I thought for sure during the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 seasons that there would have been a longer winning streak. But then I got thinking about it. You know who spoiled a bunch of those home winning streaks? Stanford did. That 2012 game, man, I'm still upset about it. Zach Ertz was out of bounds. And anyway, the fact that Oregon was able to beat Stanford, which, by the way, Dan Lanning's the first head coach in Oregon, or first coach that Oregon's had that's won their first meeting against Stanford in a while. Sure, Stanford's down. But, man, winning against Stanford, 45-27, that's a big deal. 16th straight conference home win ties the program record from 2008 to 2011. And it's the fourth longest active home conference win streak in the nation. So the Ducks have tied the record for conference home winning streak, and they're one shy of the record for total winning streak at Autzen Stadium. Ducks are 2-0 in Pac-12 play for the first time since 2020. Wasn't that long ago. The offense rushed for a season-high 351 yards, surpassing 350 yards on the ground for the first time since 2018, when the Ducks had 392 on the ground at Oregon State. And they averaged 9.5 yards per carry. That's the most by Oregon since the 2013 season opener against Nichols. The Ducks scored 40-plus points for the fourth straight game. Sure, the defense, Coach Lanning said it, they'd like to improve. I thought the pass defense did take that step forward. Last week we talked about how this Oregon team has been really good at identifying one thing they want to work on and then fixing it in the next game. Felt like they did that for the most part against the passing attack for Stanford. And boy, Bucky Irving was good. Matched his season high with 97 yards on 10 carries, averaging 9.7 yards per attempt. I feel like if they needed to go with one back, boy, Bucky Irving would be good, right? Man, he's been fun to watch this year. Talking about the defense, they allowed just 3 points in the first half. That's the fewest that Oregon has allowed in the first half since when? Any guesses in the studio? It was last year against Oregon State. Tells you, though, that when you get those kind of performances, it's like, man, it goes a long way, doesn't it? Elsewhere, DJ Johnson recorded a sack. He only played in the second half. He leads Oregon with 4 on the season. I thought Brandon Dorless was creating a lot of havoc. Finished with a career-high 2.0 sacks, his first career multi-sack performance, and a career-high 3 tackles for losses. Made multiple tackles for losses in a game for the second time this season. That's that havoc rate that we talk about for some of these guys. Continuing Troy Franklin's great season, caught 4 passes for 52 yards and a touchdown, his third of this season, I should say, and 5th of his career. That 28-yard catch in the first quarter is his 7th of 20-plus yards this season. And Bo Nix, coming into the game, had the best completion percentage in the Pac-12 on throws 20 or more yards down the field. Troy Franklin's a big part of that. Entering the game, Bo Nix, nearly 70% his completion percentage on throws of 20 yards or more. You talk about explosive plays. That's what this offense wants. The Bo Nix, Troy Franklin connection has been a big part of it. And Chase Kota, man, it was cool to see him score his first touchdown as a Duck. And I got to tell you, what a veteran Chase Kota is. He makes the catch, and where do his eyes go? He's not looking back, slowing down. He was looking at the video board. He was looking at the video board, running down and going, okay, I got space. That's a veteran move from Chase Kota. Absolutely perfection. And from the sideline, watching him do that, I was like, fist bump. Like that was very, very well done. The Ducks did allow their first sack of the season in this game. They were the last team in the FBS to not allow a sack heading into the game, and unfortunately that streak will not continue for one more week. Those are some of your takeaways. Let's hear the game recap. Jerry and Georgie on the call. Some of the highlights. Ducks taking down Stanford for another Pac-12 win.
It is big, proud, loud. 2-1. Oh, they got the snap away. He's going to throw the inside screen to Kota. He's got room. He's got speed. He's got a chance. He's got more than a chance. He will score. Chase Kota. From that shotgun, back to throw again. Looks middle, looks right. Pressure is going to go down. Back to throw Nix. Pressure, runs to his right. Looking for help to throw the ball. Throws it. It was caught, but was he inbound?
After reviewing the play, ruling is a touchdown.
And a little toss outside to the tight end who makes it grab at Benjamin. Oh, he lost the ball. It was picked, is stolen away. Sewell down the sideline. I think he stepped out of bounds. It's that I formation for Oregon. Nix back with the ball, keeps it. Wants to throw, still running. Now will keep it and will score. Touchdown, Bo Nix. From the shotgun to throw. Pressure, boom, goes McKee. Dorless got to him again, and that is his second sack of the game. And Nix snap back to throw. Pump fake, now will run. Has a lot of room to run. 30, 40, 50, 40, 35, 30. Are you kidding me? Bo Nix, touchdown Oregon. 80 yards. Bo Nix with some outright speed. Final score, 45-27. One of the strangest ball games I've seen in a long time.
Jerry said it better than I could have said it. It was a strange ball game. You feel weird leading 31-3, but things could be better. That says a lot about where this Oregon team is at. You can have a game like they did, win convincingly, and you still feel like there's more in the tank. Dan Lanning's going to tell us more about that next. Some of his comments after the game. Also, Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, will be with us in the studio coming up. And a little bit more detail on that great weekend for Oregon volleyball. Man, Matt Ulmer's team is rolling. Now we're going to see if they can roll onto the road. More coming up. Duck Insider right here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We're back. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Good win for the Ducks against the Cardinal, and now getting ready for the final game before Oregon's bye week. They will travel to Arizona. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff for the Ducks in Tucson, 6 o'clock Pacific time, that is, and then a 4 o'clock pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. Let's hear from Dan Lanning. Every time we hear from Coach Lanning, it's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Coach Lanning, right after the game, his thoughts at the podium.
Ready for bed yet? A little bit late. Appreciate you guys hanging around. Fun game for our team. So much for us to grow on. Really, think we operated well early and really throughout the game on both sides of the balls and in special teams. Had some, difference maker plays, but obviously we got to eliminate the shooting ourselves in the foot. It showed up in the past. It showed up again this game. And we got to do a better job of coaching that. The penalties can't happen. Has to be something that we improve on. We're going to take it serious, and we're going to do a good job of it, and I can promise that. But something we're looking to grow from. A lot of positives we can take away from this game, but also a lot of moments of growth. We're trying to be the best version of us, and we're not quite there yet.
We actually haven't had a chance to ask you yet with penalties, Dan. Just what is your accountabilities? How do you go about handling it during the week or
Yeah, we keep track of them all through practice, and we have standard kind of operation, but I think we need to improve that and figure out a different way we can do it.
Was it encouraging though just to see? Almost every drive in the first half was sustained, and obviously the self-inflicted wounds, but some of the responses to finish a couple of those after penalties.
Yeah, there's certainly some positives we can take away from tonight. We ran the ball really well. We were able to do some things really successfully, but I think for us to be the team that we want to be, we got to make sure that we don't hurt ourselves.
Coach Bo got off to a little bit of a rocky and kind of slower start. What was the conversation on the sideline with him, the offenser, Coach Dillingham, on kind of how to let him settle down a little bit and get back into that rhythm? There
wasn't a lot other than, hey, let's operate and do what we've done. Do what the plays intended to do. There's a couple plays that he extended that didn't work out the way that it needed to work out, and I think just lean back into what your job is and what the system is, and if the opportunity is there, we'll take advantage of it.
Almost 10 yards a carry. Just why was your offense so effective running the football?
We want to lean on our strength. I think our O-line's been a strength all year, and our backs are running really hard. And we were obviously able to involve the quarterback in the run game and wide receivers. That was part of our plan coming in. And if they didn't take it away, we wanted to continue to lean on it.
Defensively, it seemed like Bennett and Noah, obviously they combined on the fumble play, but Bennett had a lot of short tackles in space. Noah obviously comes up with the fumble recovery. Just how do you think each of them played defensively tonight?
Yeah, ultimately, you're going to have to go back and watch the film. But that takeaway was a huge play in the game. The takeaway and then having the opportunity to pick that up and move it back down into the red area was really, really big for our team. That was a momentum play that we needed. And we preach takeaways a lot, and it's good to start to see them show up in games.
Without DJ in the first half, how key was it? I think Brandon had a sack on the second play from scrimmage. Seemed like the pressure in the first half was pretty consistent, even without him.
Yeah, we have good players, and I think when they get the opportunity to operate within the system, I think our guys had a good understanding of what they were going to get tonight from our opponent, and being able to execute, knowing what you're going to be able to get, and then execute the technique required to create some success, showed up there for Brandon.
In a game where two of the league's best corners were playing, and I realize they're not playing each other, Holt Wilson to 2 catches for 14 yards. Gonzo was targeted pretty consistently, but I think only allowed 1 catch on the night. How did you think he did, and how you guys did in guarding against Wilson tonight?
Yeah, my early impression of Christian was that he did a really good job. I actually told him as a man, it's great to see us get some good work to you tonight, so he can go defend some passes, and I thought he did a good job of doing that. I know he had the 1 penalty. Just want to go back and evaluate his overall performance, but in the moments that the ball came his way, I thought he did a good job.
Well, you mentioned the fumble, but when Troy makes such an acrobatic play and then you get a turnover and then can score again, 2 touchdowns in 23 seconds, having kind of spun your wheels at times early in the game, just what did that sequence mean overall in terms of feeling like you were starting to get momentum going?
Yeah, there's been a couple times this year where we're actually able to end the half with a score and then turn around and come back and have a great opportunity to start the second half. Just in general, being able to put the ball in the end zone is obviously critical, and it creates momentum for your team. And our guys have been able to do that at a high rate. We want to be consistent and continue to do that, throughout the rest of the season. And right now, it's hard to say that anybody stopped us other than ourselves, right? So if we can remove some of those self-inflicted wounds, we can continue to move the ball and be successful once we get down there in the red area.
I mean, we knew Bo was athletic, but he kind of showed an extra gear, some extra juice on that 80-yarder. I think his longest one before that was 30 yards. Was that something that surprised you at all? What was your reaction to him taking off like that?
I gave him a really hard time last week. We threw the throwback to Bo on the play at Washington State, and I said, man, I really didn't expect you to go down like that. So I've been kind of jabbing him for a long time here. I didn't realize you were the sliding quarterback type and or jump on the ground guy. So that run was fun. When he got over there, he was sucking wind on the sideline. So he was running hard. He let up a little bit at the end, and their defender came in there aggressive at the end with an opportunity to punch it out. But I'm proud of the way he finished there. Might have to do just a little bit extra conditioning for 80-yard runs.
To piggyback off of that, him being the first player on the team to rush for 100 yards in a game this season, did you sort of see that going in? Obviously, again, knowing that he could run the ball.
Yeah, I didn't know that stat. I don't get hung up on stats, but I'm not surprised. If you have an 80-yard run, you probably should rush for 100.
When you have a game like this where you're able to work a bunch of guys in later in the game, just from an evaluation standpoint, I mean, just how different a challenge is that? Fun a challenge, knowing you've got a whole bunch of different guys to track and grade and give feedback to?
It's certainly a challenge, but this is a program that's about development, right? We want to develop players, and you develop players through experience, right? So having an opportunity to put some guys in there at the end of the game and create some experience for them to grow from, that's something we want to be able to do.
On a more personal note, you took great pride growing up that your parents were there and your dad especially was there for every one of your games as a kid. This is the first weekend that they were here, and track was here, and Blake was here, and this stuff. What is it like? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's great to have great support. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people that supported me. So I'm certainly glad that my parents were able to be here. That was fun.
What did you make of the atmosphere tonight? Late game,
Thought
fans?
it was impressive, right? It's impressive. Like 8 o'clock, that's usually time to tuck it in, and they came out strong. I mean, Otson and the student section, I think one of our administrators came up to me before the game and said it's 45 minutes till kick, and the student section's packed. And that's what makes Oregon so special. That environment here really makes us elite. So it was a great atmosphere tonight.
Flo didn't suit up. Just what was the status with him pregame, and do you feel like you came out healthy with this game?
I'll have to get with Chief, our trainer, and kind of catch up and see where things are at. I don't know what injuries we had, but he was unavailable right before the game.
I'm not ending on a negative one, but just the penalties in particular in the first half, like different ones than you've seen in previous games in terms of like pre-snap stuff. Was that alarming or concerning more in terms of just wasn't repeat stuff, it was something new?
Extremely alarming and extremely concerning, and we're going to work on it, right? Certainly a negative way to end, right? But yeah, it's something we got to get better at, and we're not going to sit here and ignore it. It's something we got to go improve on. Yeah, there you go. Positive note to finish.
I don't think we've asked you about Bucky, and he obviously had a pretty strong night with 10 for nearly 100. What did you see from him tonight where he's clearly starting to catch a little bit of fire here the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, just the same things that show up in practice, right? The guy works really hard, runs really hard, does a good job, and consistently proud of his performance in games, and it's the same thing that shows up in his work ethic and everything else that he does.
And on a positive, Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach. That was from post-game. He's going to meet with the media again tonight. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll have his press conference for you to kick off Duck Insider tomorrow, in addition to Senior Associate Athletic Director H.J. Cohn joining us on the program. When we come back, Bo Nix, Oregon quarterback. Man, what a game. That was fun. Let's hear from Bo Nix next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Guys,
guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're coming up with Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach. Time for your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Number 16, Oregon Volleyball pushed the winning streak to 6. The Ducks are 4-0 in Pac-12 play for the first time since 2016. They swept Arizona 25-19, 25-18, 25-13 at Matthew Knight Arena. Ducks straight set winners in 4 of their last 6 victories. Yeah. They improved to 10-2 on the season. Hannah Pugas had 36 assists. Oregon hit 368 as a team, held Arizona to 133 in the match. Brooke Nuneviller, who was the Student Athlete of the Week at Oregon football, that was cool to see her. Ducks are up to number 12 in the AVCA coaches poll, but the initial committee release, similar to college football, the committee released the Ducks as the number 7 overall seed, which would mean they're a host in the postseason tournament. Keep it up to Matt Ulmer's team. The Ducks were really, really good. Mimi Collier had 13 kills, hit 440 on the match on Sunday. Impressive work from the Ducks overall. Graeme Abel's Oregon soccer team, we talked about it on Friday. Just a tough call against Leah Freeman, I thought, from Thursday, and then things did not go well at Pat Bay Field on Sunday. Ducks are a little shorthanded. We're going to talk with Coach Abel about that coming up. And, of course, Oregon football getting the win. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington, Cafe Yum, menus, cafeyum.com. Let's hear from Bo Nix, the Oregon football quarterback, after that big win over Stanford. He was excellent in the game.
How big was that 80-yard touchdown run, A, for the answer for the offense, and then just how tired were you making that long of a run?
Yeah, that was cool. Obviously, it came at a good time in the game when we were kind of stalling and we needed something to happen, and just the way it worked out, they kind of left the middle open and just took off running. Our guys did a great job blocking down the field, and it was just a good situation to get in the end zone right there. So that was a good spark for our offense. Obviously, it was fun to have a run like that, and I was extremely tired at the end. I got to run some 80-yarders and practice a little bit more often.
Was that an improvised play, or was that a designed draw for you?
It was in the middle. It was kind of one of those things where we talk all the time. If you get back, get set, and you kind of see a part like that, you can go ahead and take off and make it kind of like a quarterback draw. And that's what happened. It was just kind of instinctual. They came up the field and saw the middle and just took off.
When were you thinking end zone?
Really, I mean, I guess the whole time got out there and I saw really nobody, a bunch of guys with their backs to me. And so, like I said, Troy and those guys I saw in my vision, they made some great blocks. And so once I got out there in the open and kind of had a little crease, I was just trying not to get hauled down.
You guys put up about 350 yards on the ground today, so what does that say, going against a team like Stanford that prides itself on what they call the intellectual brutality?
Yeah. I mean, that was really good for our offense. Sometimes you have games like that to where you're extremely run heavy, and obviously we had not as many explosive pass plays, but at the same time when you're running the ball like that, it's just really, really good for your offense. And like I said, sometimes you have games like that to where you're just explosive in the running game, and our guys did a really good job up front of getting a hat on a hat and moving them.
Did it feel like a long day having to wait for that 8 p.m. kickoff?
Yeah, it was an extremely long day, especially knowing where the rest of the country is kind of done playing and you're still out there playing. I feel like when I used to watch the Pac-12 after dark, if I had to go to sleep, I never realized I'd be in there actually playing.
forget about the 80-yard run for a second, but you still would have run for a lot of yards as an offense, and you personally, regardless, even without that. Did you guys feel like they were going to be susceptible to your guys' ground game as a whole today? Forget about the 340 or 350, that you were going to have success there?
I mean, yes, we've just been having some success in the running game, and so that's one area to where we're pretty good at, and that's a strength of ours, and so we try to utilize it as best as possible and get in some run checks that we know are going to be good based off head count and based off their defensive scheme.
Frustration level on the penalties in the first half.
Yeah, those aren't very good. We got to clean those up. Obviously, that's a must that we have to do. We've been doing that in the past. It hadn't been as bad, but we've been in key situations getting some penalties. And it starts in practice. I've got to do a better job with some cadence variations and just getting guys set, lined up, make sure they're in the right spot before we start to play. And then after that, it's just kind of a personal thing to where we just got to be disciplined. And just like I said, it starts with us. The leadership guys got to kind of enforce it a little bit better. And I know it's going to be something that the coaches harp on this week, as they should. And so we'll get that corrected.
The pre-snap stuff was cadence related, kind of what Alex was saying.
Sometimes when you change cadence and a few times got some shifts and just kind of got a little antsy and jumped. That stuff happens every once in a while, but you got to limit those, hopefully to one a game, and we had a few more than that. And the thing that's the thing that's disappointing that should not really happen is the excessive stuff after the play, 15-yarders. Those are not good for a team. They can be selfish, and we don't have selfish guys, so we just got to fix those things and not lose our cool.
Take us through that play. Did you not see that play that incited the scrum? Did you not see that it was called dead, or what happened there?
No, I mean, it was a loud stadium at the time. It looked like a fumble. They sure looked like they were trying to run and score, and so it's just kind of instinct. Just felt like the play was still going on, and you never know when something like that could be an inadvertent whistle or something. And, usually the ball carrier will stop if the play's blown dead. So at the time, it was just instinctual to go get them on the ground because that could have cost us some points, which wasn't good. And then after that, it's a little excessive, but it's an honor to know that my team has my back like that, and it's really special to see that. But at the same time, we can tone it back a little bit and be a little bit smarter.
Yeah, have you talked to Seven after that play?
I have not.
What are accountabilities around here? Like, Dan's a new coach, so we don't, like I know in Auburn, there's usually a lot of push-ups or other things. But
for the penalties?
Yeah.
Obviously, we will address that. The staff will do. Their own style of punishment, and we'll get that fixed. Nobody on the team wants to have penalties, and so it's just one thing that we have to keep in mind. And there does have to be, there should be some accountability for it, and we'll get that corrected.
You guys were opportunistic at some key moments.
Yeah.
The turnover in the first half and then scoring off it, responding to their touchdown, but it sounds like you kind of just made a play there. As a leader, what was your perspective on a night where there was some frustrations, kind of keeping everything locked in so that you could take advantage of those opportunities when they presented themselves?
Yeah, when I think it just shows the offensive style that we have, that what could be. I think we show a lot of highlights and we show a lot of really good things, but at the same time, when you score 45 points and you have that many penalties and that many turnovers, you're just kind of like, what if we don't have that? How much better could we look, and how explosive could we actually be? And so penalties is our number one concern. We got to get those down, but at the same time, tonight was a little different. It's not like it's been like that every single game. So we're not going to freak out about it, but at the same time, for this game, we got to correct those.
Did you feel like you had to fight though as a leader to kind of keep everybody pushing through that stuff?
Not really. We all just understood that we were the ones getting in the way of ourselves, and we knew if we would just go out there, put some drives together, put a few first downs together on a specific drive. Once we started, we didn't really have an issue getting down the field. It was just all about starting and then getting behind the chains. And at the end of we played really good. And you can't discredit the offense. The defense played outstanding, and so they got off the field pretty quickly. And so as a team, it's just, like I said, it goes to show we scored that many points. We held them enough times to where what could be when we take away the penalties.
Tougher night on some of the deep throws tonight.
Yeah.
The one to Troy where it's solo coverage on Bonner, but just down the sideline a little bit. A couple others in double coverage where you really hadn't done that this season. Were you trying to push it a little bit? Were you trying to force it at times? Did you feel like
Not
you were
really. They were
forcing
just in quarters, and posts are great against quarters. They did a good job of ratting from the backside, and a few of those we just got to fix some different landmark things. Got to throw it out there a little further. But I thought our guys ran some good routes. They just did a good job of ratting from the backside, which they've done in the past, and we knew what they were going to do. But at the same time, they, as a defense, their scheme is not letting you throw the ball down the field, and so that's why, again, we had to go back to some of the dink and dunks, and again, that's why we ran for 300 yards. And so if a team wants to play back like that, they're going to take it away for a reason, and so you got to run the ball and do other things to get some yards.
Back to the last question, the scrum thing. What actually started that? I know you were on the ground with your helmet off. Did something happen after that? It just kind of happened quickly.
You know, I'm not sure. It happened extremely fast. Obviously, it's probably on TV. I'm going to have to go back and look at it. But it's just something that it doesn't happen a whole lot, so it kind of shocked a lot of people. It kind of happened quickly, and it goes to the maturity. We have to be a little bit more smarter and mature in that situation, knowing that what we do, how we retaliate, could get us 15 yards, and that's what happened. But fortunately, it wasn't bigger than what it was, and we got it under control.
That's Bo Nix, Oregon football quarterback, meeting with the media after the big win over Stanford. And you heard Coach Lanning joke that he was pretty gassed after that 80-yard run. He was okay post-game, wasn't he? That was pretty good. Meanwhile, we're going to talk with Graham Abel from Football to Football. Oregon soccer head coach is here in the studio. We got more coming up. He's live after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
We're back inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you. Graham Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, is our guest. Coach, hey, all right. You ready?
I'm on to Cincinnati.
Okay. I like that. That was good. That was quick. That was
old school. That's from a few years ago.
Yeah, that was well crafted. You got Utah coming up, the trip to the mountain schools we'll talk about. Coach, look, you and I having this conversation on a Monday after a weekend, neither of us want to do this conversation, so let's just pretend that you went 2-0 and everything worked out well. Is that better?
Yeah, 2-0, 22 in the RPI. We're in great shape.
That's
so
right.
Yeah.
Good. So, fans, you didn't miss anything over this weekend. No, I joke. But, Coach, after a tough weekend like this, I imagine the team's feeling it. I want to start, if we could, at the beginning with the UCLA game. One, I thought the red card on Leah Freeman was a bang-bang, just tough call. That's my opinion. So it puts you guys, though, in a tough spot, didn't it? I mean, take fans through the matchup with UCLA. Your guys are in that game, feel like you're pressuring them. You have to play with 10 players for the majority of the ball game. Just break it down for us.
Yeah, I mean, it changes your game plan slightly. I mean, and it's and we talk with any of our players. When you have a decision to make, you stick with your decision. And Leah's done that, and she's made that decision, and it's no fault of hers. And on another day she wins, she nicks the ball, and the ball goes to the side, and it's play on, and it was just unfortunate. It was something unfortunate happened. So we changed things a little bit. They got the second goal. Then we were able to kind of get into halftime. It's just a couple of things, and we said to the team, we said, listen, if we can get a goal here, let's make them nervous. Let's just see what they're made of. And we got the goal. It was a really good goal that we got. And then for about 15-20 minutes after the goal, you sat there and you're going, okay, we're going to get another goal here, and then they obviously went down. I think it was the 79th minute or something like that, 80th minute that they scored. And but I felt if we'd have got the second goal there, all of a sudden, then it's the game's back on the line again. But I mean, you got to give so much credit to our kids that it'd be very easy for your head to drop at that point. And the work that we put in, down a player against that quality of team, it showed the character of our kids, and it showed the quality of our kids as well.
Yeah, boy, it's just not easy playing a person down, is it?
No.
How many times do you even see a team play to a draw after a situation like that? It's such a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you are, it's made more difficult when you're chasing a game as well.
Right.
If you're at 0-0, you can adjust, or you're tying a game, you can adjust a little bit and say, okay, we're just going to soak pressure up for the remainder of the game and try and keep this as a tie. I think when you're starting to chase a game, especially when you're 2-0 down, that's one thing. And so we went after it that way. But I thought we adapted really, really well. And I mean, walking away from it, you go, man, we could have got something out of that.
Right. Yeah, so that's again against the number one team in the country from Thursday. Ducks ultimately fell 3-1, and what is the coaching conversation with Aaliyah Freeman on a close bang play like that? And fans, if you haven't seen what we're talking about, the red card that was called was right at the top of the box. And I'm not an expert, so I defer to the expert. What do you talk to Leah about after a situation like that? What's the learning moment?
Well, number one, I mean, you make sure that you don't question the decision-making piece from the standpoint of she's got to continue to make proactive decisions as a goalkeeper.
You can't hesitate, right?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You being aggressive as a goalkeeper, you can't be a goalkeeper that just sits. Well, you can be a goalkeeper that sits on the line, but that's not a very proactive goalkeeper, and it's a limited goalkeeper, and she's certainly not that. I mean, all our fans have seen that. She's certainly not that type of goalkeeper in terms of how she plays. So I think it's continue to make your decisions. If there are decisions that happen that we need to coach you on, then we'll continue to coach through that piece. So do you look at starting position? Do you look at if a player does break through and you make the decision to go, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, maybe this wasn't the right decision. Do you just pull your hands away? But like I said, on another day, she can, I think it happened against Gonzaga where she made a similar play and won the ball with her feet.
Right.
So we have so much trust in what Leah does, and in all of our other goalkeepers that, 99 times out of 100, they make that right decision, and so we can't ever question her decision making.
And it's such a bang.
She's exceptional.
It's such a bang.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and so in a situation like that, I'm left thinking from our conversation, if you hesitate, suddenly maybe that's a goal scored instead.
Well, and it's like with any goal, it's never the very last play or situation or aspect of it. It's you can go 12, 13, 14, 15 seconds prior and go, okay, if we get pressure on the ball, they're good. The runner that's making the run through, can you bump them to stop the runner from getting there, and it goes through to Leah. So there's always a number of different things that you can look at in the lead up to a goal where you can deny that opportunity.
So then coming off the UCLA game, you got to play without your starting goalkeeper.
Yep.
Break down the USC game for us. I know a tough one.
It's we have a chance at about 7 minutes in, and we're like, okay, if we nick that goal, now we go 1-0 up. Does that flip the game on its head and now make it a different type of game? And we fought for about the first, prior to the penalty, we thought we were pretty good. You know, we had to get pressure, upset them, not allow them to play. Unfortunately, we ran out of legs. You know, we put so much into the game on Thursday trying to get back into it. We ran out of legs, and you know they were able to get the penalty and then go 1-0 up, and then kind of snowballed there through half time. We were able to get in at half time and make a couple of changes, but at that point the game's probably gone.
Yeah. So now, where do you go from here? Especially with the fact that Kess Elmore got her first start of the season. So we were talking before about how you're getting healthier and healthier.
Yeah.
Let's sit on that for a second. I mean, Kess Elmore back, that helps you.
Yeah, I mean, we had to manage Kess through about the last couple of weekends in terms of making sure we were incrementally increasing the minutes, so there's no kind of setback with her. So it was great to get her back. I thought she did some great things and obviously created a really good chance for herself yesterday within the game and looked really, really bright on the ball. And so we're excited to have Kess back, and it gives us a boost kind of higher up the field in terms of giving us extra options.
We talked a lot about how you've had some injury issues throughout the course of this season. Heading into this trip, I know a lot of fans want me to ask you, you healthy? How you doing? I mean, what can you tell us?
It goes week to week. I've said this before, I feel for our kids because they've been unlucky in picking up little things here and there, and so I mean it's day to day across the roster really in terms of Corey, our athletic trainer, has done a really good job of coming in and kind of managing that piece because she came in a couple of weeks into the season as well, so she's had to manage that piece. So it's looking at accumulated loads right now in terms of because we've got some injuries where playing players probably larger minutes than what they should for the stage of the career that they're in. Some of these first-year players that were playing major minutes right away. So it's managing loads week to week. It's managing loads in training and trying to keep as many healthy as we can for the games.
You've also had some individuals that have probably played in different roles than they normally would have if you were totally healthy. What's the pro and con of that, not just this season, but even moving forward? Like, versatility is a good thing, right? But you also want someone to get good at one thing, I'd imagine. What's the pro and con there?
Yeah, me as a coach, I like to have give kids some type of stability in terms of learning a position instead of chucking them all over the place and playing them here, there, and you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to do this. And I think in the prior 2 years we were able to do that. This year people have moved around and played different positions and different roles. And Meg Rucker was someone we thought was going to play as an outside back, and now we've got her up higher up the field back in 7-11, and it's awesome what those people do for our team. But as coaches, you feel bad because you're like, okay, we've been training you in this position for this. Now we have a need up there, so we're now moving you. So ideal situation, you're not moving players around. Yeah, it's great for learning from a versatility standpoint, but I think in that season, you're looking to try and give people some stability.
So looking for that stability. Thursday, 5:30, Salt Lake City. It's on Pac-12 Network. Give us a scouting report on Utah. What do they bring to the table for you?
Good team, technically really good. Again, that's like the same thing every week, right? Every good teams in the Pac-12 every single week. But no, they'll be tough. They've got some physically really good players up high and technical like a team. Like I said, they'll move the ball around. It was a good game we had against them last year as well. So be a similar type game. Again, they'll move the ball. We'll look to set ourselves up to make sure that to stop what they're doing, and then when we get the ball, how we can punish them.
Thursday, 5:30. Salt Lake City on Pac-12 Network, Ducks against the Utes, and then Sunday at noon. It's one of the longer road trips that you guys will make to Boulder. I know that does matter, doesn't it, when you're traveling like this? You want to try to talk about managing the loads. That's part of this, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we try to select the right type of flights and make sure we kind of minimize the stress of travel and make sure we give them time for the academics as well. And so it's about minimizing any type of stress and try and keep it as consistent as you can to how you are at home. So so we'll look at itineraries and try to manage that piece.
And it was the first week of school this past week. In your group, historically, women's soccer has been one of the best academic programs, actually, in the athletic department. I know that's something that you're proud of. You've really continued that as the head coach.
Yeah, our kids do a good job with that. That culture is awesome. I mean, I give all credit to Lindsay Bingham, our academic advisor, and the kids, of course, but that's got nothing to do with me. That's the culture that Lindsay set up, and Lindsay's been here for a few years now, and she does an awesome job, builds relationships with those kids, and then the kids follow through. And you got the Jacob Asante who would want to go hang out in there every single day. So
yeah, and it's always nice when you walk in and on the floor, academic All-American. You got some
big timer.
Yeah, you got some though that probably are going to be flirting with that conversation. That's saying something for this program. Keys to success. What do you need to be successful on the road?
if we can, just try to grab the first goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And take care of that piece, making sure we're organised, defend the set piece as well. Both of these teams, especially Colorado, they're really good in set pieces, big team in terms of size-wise. And it's a good week of practice as well, and good week of practice. Let's make sure that we're as fresh as possible for Thursday and Sunday's games. And if we do that, then we give ourselves a chance.
Travel safe. Here's to getting healthier.
Here's to getting healthier.
Every week. Every week.
Every week.
I'm going to keep saying going to keep saying that to you. Here's to getting healthier. Graham Abel, Oregon soccer head coach. Ducks are on the road. Utah, 5:30 on Pac-12 Network on Thursday, and then on Sunday, noon, it's on the Colorado live stream for the Ducks against the Buffs, the Mountain School road trip for Oregon soccer. We're going to time out. When we come back, a little more on Oregon football as the Ducks get ready to also hit the road on the football gridiron. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Hey, by the way, the Duck Store now has the Stomp Out Cancer gear. So we refit the mannequin. This is Richard, for those of you that have not ever met our nice mannequin, Richard. They've got the Stomp Out Cancer gear now. It's a good-looking shirt. I actually don't have one of those shirts. I've got the cup. Yeah, the cup is with me on the desk every day. I think I'm going to have to get one of those shirts. Head to the Duck Store. They've got them down there. Michelle, I was just down there earlier for the Autzen Stadium Duck Store, and they've got them all set up on the front rack, the Stomp Out Cancer. We'll be thinking about that this month. More to come on that. We heard from a lot of players post-game. I think I want to hear from Alex Forsyth, the Duck offensive lineman who was, as you can imagine, always great talking about the environment, what was so successful for the Ducks against the Cardinal, and getting better at penalties. Here's Alex Forsyth.
After the score, get a fumble score again, and then there was also Bo's long touchdown run in the third quarter, I think it was. Yeah. Far from a perfect performance, but a couple different times when you guys were able to kind of grab control and keep control and kind of let it keep it from getting away from you. I feel like you at least took advantage of some key moments that way.
Yeah, I think we definitely got to execute better as a team, as an offense specifically, but I think Bo did a great job on that play of just making something happen. That wasn't really the play call, but he just kind of made some plays happen with his feet, so that was fun to see. He got us out of a lot of inopportune scenarios, so he did a good job of controlling us and making sure we were all on the same page and really just kind of keeping us at ease, because we definitely got frustrated a little bit there, but he did a good job keeping us calm down.
Yeah, how do you guys as a unit come out of this game feeling with some penalties, giving up a sack finally?
Yeah, I think the penalties are the glaring issue. You can't shoot ourselves in the foot. It starts with me too. There's some on the RPOs where we're downfield and kind of got to live with those because that's the run pass option world there. But some of the pre-snap ones, we got with the refs. They were kind of mimicking our cadence there for a little bit, so we gave them on that. And then once we kind of got that taken care of, they stopped making those calls, so that was good.
Good stuff from Alex Forsyth, the Oregon offensive lineman, some of his thoughts post-game. Also want to hear a little bit from Chase Kota. Scored his first touchdown in Oregon uniform. You heard me talking about that veteran approach, looking up at the scoreboard, looking up at the video board afterwards, and he had some good things to say after scoring that first touchdown in an Oregon uniform.
Chase, as an Oregonian, how did it feel to get that touchdown in Autzen Stadium?
Oh, it was so great. Just growing up, always watching the games and stuff. And I knew I had family up in that same corner of the end zone where I scored, so it was exciting for sure.
Kind of broke up a slow offensive start too. Did that feel like a bit of a jolt of energy for you guys?
Yeah, I could definitely feel it from the crowd for sure. When I was running, I could hear it roar and everything, so I definitely got everyone excited. So it was a good start to a lot of good drives in a row there.
Did the coming home song that plays right afterwards that dawn on you? Kind of the significance of that moment with you scoring a touchdown there, did that feel kind of special?
Yeah, I noticed it for sure a little bit, so it made it a little extra special tonight, definitely.
What'd you make of Bo's touchdown run?
Oh, I loved it. I love a one-play drive, so I can never complain about that. And then seeing him, I remember when I saw him get out when he was 40 yards down the field, I'm like, please don't slide, you got the touchdown. And sure enough, he made it, so it was nice to see.
Did you guys anticipate that he was going to slide? Because Dan just talked about it. He's been kind of harping on him about staying up, not sliding.
Yeah, I mean, not really. I don't think about it much because I feel like he's got really good judgment of whether or not he should. And that play, though, I was definitely yelling mid-play. I was like, don't slide, don't slide. And so I'm just glad he got the 80-yarder. That was crazy.
You played with a really athletic quarterback at UCLA, but I don't know if he's run for one that long. Did you know Bo had it in him to kind of extend his legs and finish that?
Oh, yeah, I know he had it in him for sure. So it was good to see, but just to actually see the 80-yarder come to fruition, that was nice.
When you guys kind of had that bit of that slow start, what was kind of the conversation had? Being we gotta get something going. We're not being able to finish drive.
Yeah, it was just like coaches and players included. Everyone's we gotta stop shooting ourselves in the foot. It was just all our own mistakes. The defense wasn't really walking us up or anything. It was we just need to execute and not get penalized. So our first downs stay first downs, and from there it just went good. So.
How frustrating was it though? Because you guys would take a step forward, penalty, back and forth kind of for most of that first half.
Yeah, it was frustrating, but it was still the first half, so it was all right, and then we went into halftime and it was okay, this is about as bad as it could look, but we're still up by 28, so it's we can't, just stay locked in. If we eliminate the penalties, we should be able to run away with it, so that's how we felt.
Chase Kota, I thought that was a great perspective, right? You eliminate the penalties, you should be able to run away with it, and that tells you where this program is at. That's the next step, is they still have not played a complete football game, but they beat a team like Stanford convincingly. Now they got to go on the road, though, and let's be honest. I'm just glad that this game is in October and not in November, because it seems like every time Oregon goes to Arizona late in the season, it doesn't go well. I've never been to Arizona's football stadium. So in 2018, I was the best man at my cousin's wedding the weekend that Oregon's performance at Arizona left something to be desired. We'll find out. I don't know. It's going to be a good week, though. Heading into the bye week, it's going to be a good week. Tomorrow, Dan Lanning's press conference from tonight. H.J. Cohn will be in studio. We'll see you then.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by